Hello guys, gals and non-binary pals, welcome back to Budget Brew with me, Lotus. Today we're going to be doing Ramirez DePietro Pillager. And this one we've managed to get under $30 at the time of making the deck. Ramirez is 2 blue black for a legendary creature human pirate 4/3 that when he enters the battlefield you lose 2 life but create 2 treasure tokens. Whenever one or more pirates you control deal combat damage to a player, exile the top card of that player's library and you may cast that card for as long as it remains exiled. So we're going to do a little bit of thievery. And before we get into the deck tech, please consider to subscribe to the channel, check out my Patreon and join us on the Discord where we discuss all the new releases and brewing and just generally have a nice time. But let's start off with ramp. Bonder's Ornament is 3 colourless and we can tap 1 for any colour. 4 and tap, each player who controls a permanent named Bonder's Ornament can draw a card. Generally, we're the only one that's going to run it, so we get to draw cards. Commander Sphere is just good because it's 1 of any colour and we can sacrifice it in the late game to draw cards. Deadeye Plunderers, 3 blue black for a 3/3 human pirate. This gets +1/+1 for each artifact we control, but we can also pay 2 blue black to create a treasure token, which is kind of ramp. And one of my new favourites, Decanter of Endless Water, 3 colourless for an artifact, which gives us no maximum hand size, and we can add 1 mana of any colour. Dimir Locket, Dimir Signet, to add in the extra little bit of ramp. Gold Vein Pick is 2 mana for an equipment. The creature gets +1/+1, but whenever the equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, we create a treasure token. Malcolm Keen-Eyed Navigator, 2 and a blue for a Siren Pirate. It's 2/2 with flying. Whenever 1 or more pirates you control deal damage to an opponent, you create a treasure token for each opponent dealt damage. And then we have Prosperous Pirates, 4 and a blue. When it enters, create 2 treasure tokens. We've got Prying Blade is another equipment, which gives +1/+0, but whenever a equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, we create a colourless artifact treasure token. And Ruthless Knave, 2 and a black for a 3/2. 2 and a black. Sacrifice creature, create 2 colourless treasure artifact tokens. And we can sack 3 treasure tokens to draw cards. As we're drawing technically off the top of our opponent's deck, we may get a few creatures that are easy to sacrifice of theirs. Azure Fleet Admiral, 3 and a blue for a 3/3. When it enters the battlefield, we become the monarch. And the Admiral can't be blocked by creatures the monarch controls, so we can always try and get the monarch back. Captain Nagathrod, it's one of the new ones, 3 blue black for a horror pirate 3/6. Horrors we control have menace, which includes itself. Whenever a horror you control deals combat damage to a player, that player mills that many cards. And at the beginning of your end step, choose target artifact or creature card in an opponent's graveyard that was put there from the library this turn, put it onto the battlefield under our control. Not quite card draw, but having extra creatures and selecting through those cards is kind of advantage. Charter Course, 1 and a blue, draw 2 cards then discard a card unless you've attacked this turn. Coastal Piracy, 2 blue. Whenever a creature control deals combat damage to an opponent, you may draw a card. Curse of Verbosity, 2 and a blue, Enchanter Player. Whenever Enchanted Player is attacked, we draw a card. Each opponent attacking that player does the same. Daring Saboteur, 1 and a blue. So for 2 and a blue it can't be blocked, but when it deals combat damage to a player, we may draw a card, but if we do, we discard a card. Dead Man's Chest, 1 and a black for an aura. Enchant a creature an opponent controls. When enchanted creature dies, exile cards equal to its power from the top of its owner's library. You may cast spells from among those cards for as long as they remain exiled, and you may spend mana as though it was mana of any colour to cast those spells. So we put it on something that's like a big creature, and we get a lot of cards later on. Deadeye Brawler, 2 blue-black for a 2/4 with Death Touch with Ascend. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, if you have the City's Blessing, which is 10 or more permanents, we draw a card. Open to Wonder, X blue-blue. X target creatures can't be blocked this turn until end of turn. Those creatures gain. When this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Reconnaissance Mission, whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, we may draw a card. Ruin Raider, 2 and a black for a 3/2 with Raid. At the beginning of your end step, if you attacked with a creature this turn, reveal the top card of your library and put that card into your hand, lose life equal to the card's converted mana cost. Spectral Sailor, single blue for a 1/1 flash flying, but it has 3 and a blue just to draw a card. Now we move on to removal. Admiral's Order, 1 blue-blue. If we've attacked with a creature this turn, we may pay blue rather than pay the spell's mana cost, but it is just counter target spell. It is the same as cancel, but potentially with a little bit of a benefit. Amphin Mutineer, 3 and a blue. When it enters the battlefield, exile up to 1 target non-salamander creature. That creature's controller creates a 4/3 blue salamander creature token 1. It has Encore, so we can do it again from the graveyard. Deadeye Tracker, single black for a 1/1 human pirate. 1 and the black, tap, exile 2 target cards from an opponent's graveyard. And then this explores, which could put +1/+1 counters on it, making it bigger potentially. We have Fumble for 1 and a blue instant. Return target creature to its owner's hand and gain control of all auras and equipments that were attached to it. Then attach them to another creature. If you're playing against a Voltron deck or some artifact equipment deck or aura deck, it's very good to steal them. Hornswoggle, 2 and a blue instant, counter target creature spell, and then we create a treasure token. Hostage Taker, 2 blue-black. When it enters the battlefield, exile another target creature or artifact until this leaves the battlefield. You may cast that card for as long as it remains exiled, and you may spend mana as though it was mana of any type to cast it. So it could be just temporary, or we could steal it and get rid of it from our problem and make it their problem. Lookout's Dispersal, 2 and a blue. It costs 1 less to cast if we control a pirate. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 4. In some instances this is 2 mana, counter a spell. Then we have Good Old Negate. Spell Swindle is 3 blue-blue. Counter target spell and then create X colourless treasure artifact tokens where X is the spell's converted mana cost. Save it for a good big spell. And Walk the Plank, double black, destroy target non-merfolk creature, which is a lot. Now we need to protect ourselves. Boneyard Parlay, 5 black for a sorcery. Exile up to 5 target creature cards from a graveyard. An opponent separates those into 2 piles. Put all the cards from the pile of your choice onto the battlefield under your control and the rest into their owner's graveyard. In Too Deep, double blue for a split-second aura. Enchanted creature, planeswalker or clue. The enchanted permanent is a colourless clue with pay 2, sacrifice it, draw a card. And it loses all other abilities. So if you've got an annoying Kozilek that can counter anything, just pop this on it. March of the Drowned, single black. Choose one. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand, or return 2 pirates. We're going to have 2 pirates. Murok Stealth Suit. 2 colourless for an artifact equipment. Equipped creature can't be the target of spells or abilities. It equips for 1, but for double blue, we can attach it, which means we can do it at instant speed. Siren Storm Tamer, single blue for a 1/1 flyer. For a single blue again, sacrifice it, counter target spell or ability that targets a creature you control. So with all those new channel lands, we can counter that. Sleep to blue, tap all creatures target players control, and those creatures don't untap during that player's next untap step. It could also be paving the way for us to attack through and get some extra advantage. Spinal Embrace, 3 blue, black. Instant. Cast this spell only during combat. Untap target creature you don't control and gain control of it. It gains haste until end of turn. At the beginning of your next end step, sacrifice it. If you do, gain life equal to its toughness. It's another way of getting rid of something either attacking us and gaining some life off it. Now let's buff our little pirates. So Ether Tunnel gives an enchanted creature +1/+0 and can't be blocked. Captain's Hook is an equipment that equips for 1. Quick creature gets +2/+0 and has Menace and is a pirate in addition to its other creature types. When it comes unattached from a permanent, destroy the permanent. Corsair Captain is one of the new ones from 2 and a blue for a 2/2. When it enters the battlefield, create a treasure token, but other pirates you control get +1/+1. The Fell Flagship is a vehicle that offers pirates +1/+0. And when it deals combat damage to a player, that player discards a card. And finally, Pirate's Cutlass. When it enters the battlefield, just attach it straight to a pirate we control, and it gets +2/+1. And now we go into the meat and potatoes of the deck, the pirates. So Crafty Cutpurse, it's got Flash. When it enters the battlefield, each token that would be created under opponent's control this turn is created under your control instead. Someone plays an annoying Dockside Extortionist, steal the treasure tokens. Deadeye Quartermaster. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for an equipment or vehicle card, reveal it, put it into your hand and shuffle. We don't have many, but having 1 or 2 and a kind of card advantage is pretty cool. Departed Deckhand. When it becomes the target of a spell, sacrifice it, but it can't be blocked except by spirits. And for 3 and a blue, another target creature you control can't be blocked this turn except by spirits, which is a great way to sneak our pirates through. Dire Fleet Hoarder. When it dies, create a treasure token. Dire Fleet Poisoneer. It's Flash and Death Touch, so we can surprise our enemies with a sneaky kill. When it enters the battlefield, target attacking pirate you control gets +1/+1 and gains Death Touch till end of turn. Dire Fleet Ravager. It's got Menace and Death Touch. When it enters the battlefield, each player loses 1/3 of their life rounded up. Dreamcaller Siren is another flying flash. Can only be blocked by creatures with flying, and when it enters the battlefield, if we control another pirate, tap up to 2 target non-land permanents. Fathom Fleet Captain with Menace. Whenever it attacks, if you control another non-token pirate, we may pay 2. If you do, create a 2/2 black pirate creature token with Menace. Another way to fill up the board to do blockers if we ever get the swing back and attacked. Forerunner of the Coalition. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a pirate card, reveal it, then shuffle your library and put that card on top. Whenever another pirate enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses a life. That can get out of hand very quickly. Ghost of Ramirez DePietro, in case our commander dies. It can't be blocked with creatures with toughness 3 or greater, so whatever it blocks can always be killed. Whenever the ghost deals combat damage to a player, choose up to 1 target card in that graveyard that was discarded or put from the library this turn. Put that card into its owner's hand. Kite Sail Freebooter is a flying pirate. When it enters the battlefield, target opponent reveals their hand, choose a non-creature, non-land card from it, exile that card until this leaves the battlefield. Then we have Kite Sail Skirmisher. It's a flying pirate. Whenever it attacks, another target attacking creature that's attacking the same player or planeswalker gains flying until end of turn, and we can encore this. Merchant Raiders. Whenever Merchant Raiders or another pirate enters the battlefield under our control, tap up to one target creature. That creature doesn't untap during its controller's untap step for as long as you control Merchant Raiders. This is a way of tapping down our opponent's boards and just keep getting through for that combat damage. Sailor of Means. When it enters, create a treasure token. Slippery Scoundrel. It has Ascend, and as long as you have the City's Blessing, it has hexproof and can't be blocked. Stormfree Aerialist is a flying with raid. Stormfleet Aerialist enters the battlefield with a +1 counter on it if you've attacked with a creature this turn. And then Time Stream Navigator, 1 and a blue for a 1/1 with Ascend. For 2 blue, we can put it on the bottom of our library and take an extra turn after this one. But we can only do it if we have the City's Blessing. But having an extra turn spell is always pretty good. And Warkite Marauder, a flying pirate. Whenever it attacks, target creature defending player controls loses all abilities and has base power and toughness 0/1 till end of turn. Now for the mana base. Access Tunnel, for 3 and tap, target creature power 3 or less can't be blocked this turn, to try and sneak through. Evolving Wild to go get any basic. Field of Ruin to destroy any non-basic land that's a difficult issue for us, like Maze of Ith or any other expensive, ridiculous land that people buy. Lonely Sandbar, yes, it enters tapped, but if we don't need it, we can cycle it to draw a card. Rogue's Passage, for 4, we can make a creature that's unblockable, and again, Terramorphic Extents to get another land that we need. And then we end up with 17 islands and 12 swamps. This is the deck list. We got it down to as low as $29.49 as TCG's market price. Granted that Ramirez doesn't have a price at the time of building this deck, but I can't imagine him being actually that expensive, as he's a uncommon. But every other card may adjust a little bit, but otherwise I think this deck is going to stay around the $30 mark. But what do you think of the deck? What would you change? Would you build Ramirez? Would you build it completely different to what I've done? I'd love to hear how you've done this. Join us in the Discord and chat with me directly about it, or just leave a comment down below. But otherwise, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Please share this, because I'm trying to get to 300 subscribers on YouTube so I can go onto the EDH rag and show our decks to more people. But otherwise, take care.